Who is speaking the oldest language in the world today? Which language is that? And why is it important to know? Welcome to our talk where we want to discuss where is the oldest language spoken today. To answer these questions, it is not really complicated. All we need is to ask and answer this one question, which is the oldest race on earth. Then once we find them, we find their language. You will find that they want to say it's Tamil, it's Aramaic, it's Hebrew, it's Korean, it's Greek, and so forth. Let us say the definite answer is that melanin dominant human beings are the oldest people on earth. There are a number of other factors that can be brought into the show. But we know from scientific studies that white skin or pale skin or Europeans started to appear on the earth only 8,000 years ago, according to a lot of studies that have been done now. And new data confirm that about 8,500 years ago, early hunter-gatherers in Spain, Luxembourg, and Hungary had darker skin. They lacked a version of two genes, SLC24A5 and SLC45A2, and because of that lack, this led to depigmentation and therefore pale skin in Europeans today. It is very clear that Asians appeared on the earth 15,000 years ago. So from the Kleptopspheres, which are 2.8 billion years old, we know that black people appeared on the earth in Southern Africa or in any other parts of Africa 3 billion years ago. Very clearly, the oldest language is not to be found in any European or Asian languages. So all those websites, pictures, blogs, YouTube videos promoting Sanskrit, Chinese, Hebrew, some other Indo-European languages are all lying through and through. So where is the oldest language spoken today? Why is it important to know the answers to this question? There are four reasons. One, to know that Europeans and Asians boast of ancientness and great achievements are all lies meant to push Africans off the historical high mental pedestal rung to the bottom. It is also three, to help us to rediscover which languages were spoken first on earth. And then last, what do these languages connect us to the oldest language ever spoken? We know that the proof that we find the oldest language spoken by descendants of the oldest people on earth in Africa is found from the Lebombo bone, which is the lunar phase counter, which is 35,000 years BCE. No European, no Asian then on earth. And this was also mathematical and also linguistic. There are 24 markings, and just like the Ishango bone here, these markings are on baboon's fibula. Capture that, because the baboon is going to play a prominent role in our explanation of the oldest language spoken on earth and where it is spoken. Again, some scientists believe this may have been used as a lunar phase counter, so perhaps African women were the first mathematicians. That was thousands of years before Europeans appeared on the scene. White skin developed in Europe 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, when the world was totally black. So there is totemic proof of who speaks the oldest language on earth today and where it is spoken. Proof of the African origins of this tongue comes from totems found among us melanin dominant human beings. One of the prominent totems is the ape, the monkey, and the baboon. For example, the baboon monkey of Africa gives us the evidence. Its other name is Soko or Shoko. Shoko references language or words. The link is crucial since it is only among melanin dominant humans where this reality of sound and its source of absolute deliverance of truths, ideas, and thoughts in real language is found nowhere else. So the Cynocephalus monkey in baboon is an amafene or veni or tsoko. Pani or fene or fana is Bantu, meaning resemblances, things that resemble each other, which shows the amafene are the ape-like totemic animals after whose image the amafene are named, therefore meaning sameness, incorporating the sound and linguistic aspects through clicking. That's the proof. According to the book of Beginnings by Gerald M. Massey, Emma Sparrow, a scholar, and Sapeto, Professor Sapeto, say that in the speech of some of the Negro tribes that they met from the Blue Nile, the clicks which were deemed a peculiarity of Southern Africa was detected. However, as one moves southwards, the clicks reduce and become pronounced once again in Southern Africa. The click sound is the master key that identifies who is speaking the original or language today. For instance, the Sinofelas app of the Upper Senegal is said to utter some clicks which contain a distinct D sound. The earliest language orotette with the tongue symbolized in hieroglyphics like this would be that of the clicks, and the fact seems to be registered by the tet or tt of the blue crane found in Southern Africa and South Africa, and the clicking of the Sinofelas that we have seen, which personifies the earliest phase of language connected to the totems. You can watch also this video, Blue Crane, filmed by Greg Morgan, to listen to the tongue and the clicking of the blue crane. The tongue and hand over have been found as the symbol of the harur, which is word or logos, which is the ancient genetrix of the ape shoe, which was the hand that was put on the mouth and points to describe Chikahuti or Toti. Clearly, this is the native names for tongue and hand, the language that was spoken and developed from the clicks and the gesture speech. TT denotes a special language of the blue crane. Teti in Teto is a speech in Xhosa and Zulu. Therefore, the oldest language spoken by descendants of the oldest people on earth included clicks. Teti is the name of both the tongue and the hand in the Hottentot Bushman language, and Tintinta, which with prefix and terminal would become Hotintati. So Hotintati in ancient Hamitian would denote those who were first of speech all the way from the ape, an earlier type of the clicker, which is the title of distinction of the speaker, which is primordial in deed and name only. Rume, male. Romo, mouth and speech. Ruma, bite. Rurimi, the tongue or the one that speaks. And Ndimi, language. In many African dialects, Ludimi are bred into Limi for tongue, Limi Lubalo, Limi Kasange, Lemi Songo, Limi Lamei Wolof, Lime Lima, Bulomo, Erem Sobo, Elen Mpongwe, Lilim Mutsaya, on and on. These are all the words. Tekerema, Ashanti, Pulema, Padisade. These languages are all African languages. These and other names for the tongue passed out of Africa is Nalem tongue, Ostiak, Nelma, Volgal, Elmia, Itzarems, and also Ramare or Rumero, and also Ra in the tongue in Hamit, and Uluimi in Xhosa. Where is the oldest language spoken today? And who is speaking the oldest language today? Which language is that? Here is the scientific proof. They say it comes from Africa. Out of 504 languages that were tracked, all of them were found to have come from Africa, and the pattern changes the further you go away from Africa. You can go to the source here of the New York Times for this scientific proof. And there's also the phonemic diversity supports a serial founder effect model of language expansion from Africa by Quintin D. Atkinson. These are scholars, modern scholars. And related to all this issue, we want to ask which languages have the greatest number of sounds. It is the African language, the Ta language of Botswana and Namibia, also known as has at least 58 consonants, 31 vowels, and 5 tones. This compares with the 24 consonants and the 12 vowels for a received pronunciation in English, the Queen's language. You can also watch this video. These videos that are shown here, you can go to this source and find basic pointers to who is speaking the oldest language today. It's the clicks. Hi, to chew, and cover again, go to seize and take captive, to drone, to embrace, to sleep, zap a day. So, Where is the oldest language spoken today? It is spoken in Africa and many other melanin-dominant human beings, Asian societies, on which they still use cliques minus the English, the Russians, Chinese, or any other Asians. Now, some researchers think that the split between the Hadzabe and other clique-speaking groups could have occurred as nearly as 100,000 years ago. This is split, which puts us right in the center of what we have already said initially, that the Ishango-born and the Lebombo-born between 35,000 to 75,000 years ago. Therefore, roughly this time that is given proposed the exodus of modern humans out of Africa, which some say might have been spared by the development of language itself. But Knight warns that the dating is the most tentative aspect of this study. We have already given the 3 billion age and the Lebombo and Ishango bones that tell us where to find the earliest users of language. We had no boundaries like what Europeans do today. It was all over the planet Earth. The ancients and the first language users are still found in Africa, and it is fused with the cliques, indicating that it came from the first original language. We must learn basic cliques and eventually learn to speak languages that have cliques in them. Why? Because these cliques are a sign of totemic connection. Why do you need totemic connection? Because totems connect us to our first ancestors or first ancestor, and the clique language is the spiritual conduit that links us into the universe via animism. What is animism? Animism is the attribution of living soul or spirit or essence in everything that you find on the earth, and the ability to connect with that inanimate or animating spirit or soul or power or of energy. This is from Damien Marian Hartlock et al. Animism in approximately, he says 100,000 years old belief, and we put it to 300,000 years and way before to almost 3 billion years. So we know that in various parts of Africa, it is related that in many ancient times and myths that we know, human beings were able to speak to animals. They were able to speak the language of animals. That's why we have witches, we have got professionals, we have got great hunters. They were able to converse together. This is but not the other way of saying that the animals formed certain ideographic types by aid of which the primitive men could express their ideas. When we are suddenly excited or frightened, we ignore language and use yelling, screaming, or shouting, ululating, or whistling. These are typically signs of our ancientness that goes before the language was codified or distorted by learning. So the oldest language is spoken by Africans. Why is it important to know where this oldest language is spoken today? Because it will allow us to stop being victims of European and Asiatic lies. Once you know this, then the Asian language is not lost to you. It is still translated and continues in pictographs and hieroglyphics. Amit Kush remains the mouthpiece of this truth and is found in Africa. Anyone who is saying Mesopotamia, India, Mohenjo-Daro, or Maya is lying. We have given the timelines of the origins of humans on earth. It renders the language of animals intelligible to us via totems. Many of the animals' prototypes are still identifiable in the fables, with the ideographic types extant in the monuments and mythology of Kush Kamit ancient languages. And these are identifiable easily by the click link to totems and animism and to the universe. It is not smart to speak to your righteous ancestors and divinities in an enslaver colonizer language. Therefore, English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Mandarin, Arabic, Hebrew, or non-African languages severely limit how you think, meditate, or express yourself to the creator of our ancestors. You unleash your creativity and your living identity with your great ancestors and divinities once you show them you wanna speak as they did. When you learn to master the basics of this language with the clicks, it's your first language. To learn this language and to find more information, send us an email on join@marifado.com. We spoke the oldest language, and we can do so namuhla kates la kusasa. Siyabonga uThixo abelathi. Yours truly, Hamaneja Topi, Dumizu Lukunikeni Mjakanja Mskaban, saying till we meet again, learn your ancient language. There is power in that type of knowledge. Tatenda, Siyabonga, Enkos, Edupe, Asante Sana.